In today's video, I'm going to do a mid-June walking tour, and we're going to start with the backyard. I'm using my iPhone, and it just turns. I have it on something to hopefully not make it shake as much, and it just kind of turns the phone randomly, and I can never aim it where I want. So if it starts shooting around crazy things, it's because of my little gimbal that I'm using. But let's go ahead and get started. What's going on? And again, we're starting in the backyard, which is a little bit different this time. On my back temporary stairs, where eventually we'll put a deck. I just cut my basil this morning. It's getting really tall, and I think I'm going to try and dry it. But, you know, I've got the parsley, sage, oregano. Probably should cut that, start drying. Got some different thymes. The thymes are slower growing, but I had some huge thyme out in the garden bed from last year. Okay, so swinging, looking at the garden from the porch. These are my dahlia beds, and this is all temporary. I put these concrete, what do you call them? I can't even remember what those are called, but basically there's concrete blocks there because you can see right here, the water runs from a gutter down this way, and it was just flooding through there. So I was trying to divert the water around my dahlia beds because that would rot the tubers. So that's just something I'm trying. Again, all this is temporary and eventually will be gone when we put a back patio out. Dahlias are starting to get big. It took me a long time to get them in the ground. I got them in the ground, gosh, well, in May, but not when I wanted to. And the neighbors and friends that I have that left their dahlias in the ground are already getting blooms. So I feel really far behind. Next year, I'm going to try and leave things in the ground. Obviously, if we put a patio, this will have to come out. But I think we probably might only need to pull out those 2 rows. And I would be able to keep these first 2 rows, which are my favorite dahlias. This first row are the ones that are my favorite. You know, keep it intact. I also put dahlias in some of my raised beds. The rabbits were nibbling just a little bit on them. So I made sure I got the first row of netting down. I need to buy some more netting. I say this every time and get in front of my computer and forget what I'm there for, and have not have not ordered the netting. I have sprinkled the liquid fence all over them, trying to keep the rabbits from nibbling. And we'll see what happens. Okay, let's go ahead and look first at my rose garden. This is kind of my formal in rose garden. I just keep a pot here, pretty deep pot, and this is where I like dump when I have black spot leaves and things like that. I just think it's prettier than a Home Depot bucket, but I want it deep so that the black spot doesn't splash back up. If I just threw the leaves on the ground, you know, the wind or rain could bounce it back onto my plants. This is Grand Dame. I love this. Look how big these blooms are. Yeah, she'll get huge, but in the fall, she was just massive and massively filled out. My James L. Austin getting ready for its second flush. Absolutely beautiful. The first flush was at the end of April, first week of May, so it's about 6 weeks getting the second flush. Same with my distant drums. Usually around this time, after that first flush, when everything is coming from a fresh prune, you start getting your octopus canes, and like this one. But I should be able to pick a beautiful bouquet of distant drums if I wanted to. Already need to deadhead. And this one is kind of a black spot magnet, or has been. I'm not sure, because this whole row is kind of a black spot magnet. I'm not sure if it's because there's so much grass around here, it makes it more humid. We'll see. This is one called Honey Mustard. These are like florist roses from Grace Rose Farm. Oh, Coco Loco, another florist rose. This one's a real popular rose. Also, the florist roses tend to get a lot of black spot. And of course, I did a video recently on how I control black spot or try and control black spot. You can't really eliminate it, but I just have fewer leaves to pick off. In today's video, I'm going to do a mid-June walking tour, and we're going to start with the backyard. I'm using my iPhone and it just turns. I have it on something to hopefully not make it shake as much, and it just kind of turns the phone randomly, and I can never aim it where I want. So if it starts shooting around crazy things, it's because of my little gimbal that I'm using. But let's go ahead and get started. What's going on? And again, we're starting in the backyard, which is a little bit different this time. Okay, so let's look at this first row. My Gabriel oak, another one that the water just kind of rushed right over, and it was actually in a little divot, so I kind of raised it up. And I kind of put these rocks here, hoping to just divert it around this mound. So this is its very first bloom. This was planted the same time as other roses that I'm getting a second flush on already. But yeah, that one is, it was hurting. I think it was drowning. And so looking forward to getting some blooms on that. This one was in that white pot for over a year. It was definitely too small. It's called Opening Night. It's a red rose. It was a freebie because I normally don't love red roses. Fiji Eleganza. This is going to be beautiful. I love this one. Waiting for a second flush. And this is called True Inspiration. This is a first year rose. Look at this. So this True series by Ping Lim, absolutely beautiful. Of course, I did buy it at a local nursery, so they also tend to be, they're potted up and put in a greenhouse over the winter, and so they tend to be big and beautiful. But oh, look at that. Here's some more unique florist roses. I mean, literally these blooms, they never fall off. Well, here they're falling off right now, but I think these blooms have been on here for 4 or 5 weeks. And they would stay on here if I didn't snap them off. This one, I did snap off. They're slower to rebloom. I'm hoping that I'll start getting bigger blooms though, because I was expecting these blooms to be a couple inches across, and they're maybe 1.5 inches across. That's Julietta Raspberry, Julietta Cerise, and here's my Julietta. And the Julietta actually have the size blooms that I was hoping for. So, but again, these are all florist roses. They were from Grace Rose Farm. I think she's assessing her florist roses because in general, they are bred for greenhouses, and they definitely have more issues with black spot and acclimating to all these different climates, and depending where you live, it may not do as well. If you live in California, you're probably golden, but other places, I think they struggle a little bit more, and if you're not really dedicated and on top of them all the time, I think you could be more disappointed in them. This one is called Summer Rose. Again, florist rose. Ugh, it's going to be beautiful. Look at this. Okay, this is Honey Dijon. This was pretty much a black spot magnet last year. Still get some black spot, but I can pick the leaves off instead of defoliating the whole plant. If I had to dig up a bush, it might be this one. Also, seems to get a lot of black spot. I mean, it doesn't look that bad right now because I pulled off some leaves. So I guess, again, that's good that I can pull off leaves, but look how thorny this booger is. Can you see that? It is thorny, and there are thorns on the underside of the leaves. Yeah, I'm trying to do this bare fingered and it hurts. Anyways, I just don't love, people either love or hate this. I just don't love the blooms. So we'll see if I end up keeping it. All right, let's go over here. These are also my florist roses. I need to fertilize. It's on my list to do today. is to fertilize everything again. I'm using, this time I've got a combination of dried molasses and urea, which is pure nitrogen. And I'm going to mix that in at the base of everything. You can see the leaves are getting kind of a little yellowed. These again are all different types of florist roses, bridal piano. I hope this thrips aren't getting into the Princess Hitomi. Some of these, like for bridal piano, these will be the maiden blooms. So I'm not sure what it's going to look like. She's real pretty. I thought she was going to be pink, but she's a little more yellow. Here is my Miyabi. Look at this, these are florist roses. So these also will last for like 2 weeks. I mean, this is prime for cutting. If I wait another couple of days, they'll get ugly and then they'll stay on the rose forever looking ugly. So I probably will come out and cut those today, cut that stem and bring it inside. Next to it, my Susan William Ellis. I kept saying all winter long I was going to take this one out. It's a David Austin, but I don't love the blooms. Just don't love them, but it does put out a lot of them, and I've just yet to dig it out, and I don't do anything to it. It stays pretty healthy, so until I have another rose I'd rather put in its place, I'll just leave it. First Crush, it's a Parfuma rose, a Cordis rose. My goodness, it is so super fragrant. I love it, but because it's back here, I don't come back here as much, so I feel like I'm missing some of the beautiful blooms. This one is called Catherine, or supposedly called Catherine. I picked it for the name for my daughter, Catherine, but I thought it was going to be pinker. This is its maiden bloom. We'll see if they sent me the right rose. I think I ordered it, you know, from one of those Etsy or, you know, type breeders. It wasn't from Etsy, but one of those companies that send you small band roses. Rose of Fascination. This is a Cordis rose. Oh my goodness. I love this rose. It just blooms nonstop, and it's getting ready for a second flush. It was beautiful first flush. This is a first year rose, and the second flush is going to be gorgeous. Look at this. All right. I need to get out here a little more. This is Sensuous. Starting to get a few snapdragons blooming. This is Bolero. I have one up front too, but it's younger than this, but it's so beautiful. It's a white rose. Oh, here's one. Look at that. Wow, that's perfect. I should cut that one. Well, it's a little too late to cut. That's the problem, is you wait until now to cut and then the petals fall off because you waited too late. So all my roses are on drip, but the plants next to it aren't. So if it's not getting any supplemental water, they tend to just fizzle out. But so I have some dried out snapdragons and some that seem to be doing okay. But look at this. I mean, it's reaching for the sun. So this area gets a lot of sun till about noon. So 6 or 7 hours of good sun, and then it kind of fizzles. So everything is leaning way forward for the sun. Pink O'Hara, this is a first year rose. This is a Delbard rose. I did have one beautiful bloom, so looks like it's getting ready for some more. Covered with the liquid fence granules, because I saw rabbits running around in here. Over here, another florist rose. Again, they're gonna stay like this forever. This is supposed to be Victorian Bride. Again, all these roses back here are first year roses. So this is Romantica Ball Gown. Super healthy. These haven't had any black spot at all. And here's a bud. They're big, beautiful blooms whenever it finally gets its second bloom. I say a flush, but it's not really a flush. It's not like I get a shrub covered in blooms, it's more of a bloom or a couple of blooms. Princess Anne, David Austin, waiting for that second flush year. I just planted my Eden Climber. So we've had this, it's an H. Potter trellis. Had it for, gosh, months. Finally put it together. Yeah, I think I got it last fall. But put my little Eden Climber in front of it. It has one bloom on it already. Two blooms, or two buds. So we'll see what happens. I wasn't positive if I'm too far back. You know, it's next to my hydrangeas that I put there because it was part shade. Yeah, so we'll see how well it blooms kind of back under this cover of trees. Yeah, so it'll only get morning sun. I did not cement in the trellis because I might move it. So I did hammer in some T-posts in the back and attached it with zip ties. As everyone says, when we get our strong winds, it can, if you have a vine or something thick, it can lift the whole thing up. Okay, so here is my little shade garden. I've got a bee, hellebores, and hydrangeas that do better in shade. And then I've got a couple of other roses here, just two. They look super healthy. And this is kind of like my no spray area because it's right next to my vegetables. So a few more bugs as far as eating the leaves. But still, it looks super healthy. And my Queen Elizabeth looks like she's got a bunch of buds. And I am going to be getting another Queen Elizabeth. My girlfriend has her and doesn't love the shape of her bloom, so she's giving it to me. Some of my ginger that I planted, you know, that I bought from the grocery store that I let sprout and planted. Raspberries. I never come out here to harvest anything, so I think the birds and the squirrels or whoever else likes the berries just gets them. And then here are my blackberries. I just saw somebody's beautiful blackberry shrub and realized I think I have 4 of them in here. Yeah, I probably only needed 1. Same with the raspberries. I probably have 4 in there. Tomatoes. I don't know why this one looks so sad. This one's on drip. I guess they are looking a little sad. Maybe I need to run my irrigation. Here are my potatoes. Put these in the ground. Getting ready to harvest soon. They're starting to die back. I've done them in grow bags before, and then I had some in these higher planters last year. But I tell you what, they did not get this tall and this huge. Be interested to see what I have back here. Some tomatoes. I really don't spend a lot of time on my veggies, so they don't look that great. Some strawberries. First year didn't really do much, but we'll see what happens in future years. But the leaves are getting really big. It's time to pull out my shell peas. Once they get big like this, they got kind of bitter, so I stopped picking them. Now they're dying back. Lots of beets. My daughter was here this week. I decided she was beet worthy, and I pulled out a bunch of beets. They say when you see it pushing out at the top, you know, looking, you know, maybe small softball, bigger than a golf ball, but maybe smaller than a softball. It's time to harvest. I'm not sure. They were a little smaller. I needed 4 of them for dinner. Here's all of my garlic and my onions planted at way different times. So the garlic was planted last fall, I believe, and the onions planted this spring. But I'm getting ready to need to harvest my garlic. So it's starting to die back, and I broke off the scapes. We'll see. Okay. My American Beauty Climber, the rose that my grandma had. Looking good. It's a one-time bloomer though, and it already bloomed this spring. Next to it, I have an Eden Pink Climber, and I need to attach it to this trellis, and I need to build this one, which is a matching one, and put it next to it, so the pretty and pink one can also go up this way. Hollyhocks, I really don't like them. Look how bad the hollyhock rust is. And I didn't realize they got so big, and I didn't realize these were all yellow. I thought I had a mix, and yeah, I'm pulling them out. I already pulled out the ones behind this climbing rose, which is my La France climber, which is, La France was the original hybrid tea, and this one is a climbing version which came a few years later, and it's also a pink rose, and we'll have it going up the new trellis also. Planted a couple new roses this week. Might be a little bit late. It's kind of like on those bare root sales, like final last time shipping bare roots. I mean, this one looked so bad. But the original canes are all dying back. People always worry about the original canes dying back, and I always say, as long as I have new growth, I'm happy. So original canes are going to die back, but I've got a new growth. It's going to be beautiful. I put some dahlias that have been stuck in my garage in some grow bags yesterday. My baptisia is getting really big. Girlfriend gave me some yarrow, got that one in, but it was so pretty. Went to visit her garden. They're so beautiful, all native, because she does everything all native, no spray. But she gave me a bunch of plants, some Rebecca that I still need to get in the ground, another yarrow. I believe this is another yarrow. It might not be yarrow. I don't remember what this one was. This was some mountain mint. No, this was a mountain mint. This was a Maximilian sunflower. And then she gave me some other strawberries, which need to be taken care of. And then here, I started a bunch of lettuce. It's a salad mix that I'm gonna put out to hopefully keep my rabbits from eating my plants that I don't want them to eat. Over here, time to pick my sweet peas again. Man, I literally pick them every other day now, and I come back and it looks just like this. I don't even know where to put them. I did have some dahlias in the ground, so those are looking really good. I planted them this year, but they planted early and they look great. Oh, here's my La France, and it is starting to bloom. This is the first hybrid tea, and when you hear the term when you hear the term old garden rose and then modern roses, this is the very first modern rose, 1867. So modern roses are not something in the 1900s. They're 1867, and that's when it switched from old garden roses to modern roses. La France, the first one. We'll see how it does here. Okay, my zinnias, I mean, they look terrible with that deer repellent all over them. Again, don't really have issues with deer back here, which I guess is very fortunate, but I do have rabbits and I have chipmunks. And last year I had groundhogs, but have not seen a groundhog this year. Maybe that's what was getting my sunflowers though. Anyways, these are the pastels. So some are Floret, some are Dawn Creek, direct from Dawn Creek, because I know florets came from Dawn Creek. And then some were Johnny's Ballerina. I'm not sure which one is this one. I think this is a Dawn Creek that has, you know, this very unique shape. These are already, I could cut them. Yeah, so this is my pastel bed. And I also got a Cerinthe right here. I don't even remember what this is. If you know what it is, you can put it in the comment below. I started it from seed, had 3 of them. They're doing good. And then I've got some nasturtium in here. These 2 beds need to be planted. Just kind of letting my larkspur go to seed. And I need to harvest the little pods. I don't really know how they reseed. Like, I don't know if these are the seeds or if the seeds are inside. Oh yeah, see, they're opening up. Let's see what, let's pull this open and see. There are a bunch of seeds inside. Oh yeah, so there are the larkspur seeds. I would love for this to all be larkspur, but I know the Dara and the Orlea are more aggressive, and the Bupleurum are more aggressive. Anyways, so I'm gonna harvest these pods. I guess I need to do it now because they're starting to split open. And I wanna sprinkle larkspur seeds out front. Over here, we're supposed to be all sunflowers. I've even pulled out half the stems, but the rabbits definitely got to them here, even when they were this tall. I mean, this one was pretty tall, and then they pulled it down. These were the ones I thought they hadn't got the top flower portion off and might actually bloom. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4 that could bloom. This one should bloom. I am getting ready to put some more sunflowers out here, and I will cover them. And I do have some chicken wire, like 12-inch chicken wire I could put around it to try and keep the critters out and give things a chance to grow. Okay, now we're coming around to my front yard. Lots of these roses are having their second flushes. Obviously my gladiolas. There's my husband. Gotta go back here so he's not on the screen, but you can see my hydrangeas and the gladiolas are really blooming. I do need to move the gladiolas. They're too close to the rose bushes here. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah, so they almost make a wall. Where is he? Right here. They almost make a wall, and so these rose bushes are between the house and that tall row of gladiolas, so they get more black spot. So I need to dig those up. They were not as thick last year, so I didn't realize they were going to fill in. I moved them there earlier in the spring, and I did not realize that they would like triple in width since I had just moved them. Okay, let's look at my flowers. This is a cream veranda in a pot. 2 of them. My limelight hydrangea. Plum perfect. Oh, my husband just left, so I can just film my angel face back here. These are all first year. Gertrude is a second year. I just try and bend her canes because I hear she does better on lateral canes. She's beautiful in the spring, hasn't done much since then. My Love Me, Loves Me Not. This is one that the flowers are gorgeous. They were actually gorgeous on the shrub all spring, but when it's hot, they get like this. And then they'll stay forever on the shrub looking like this, which I think looks terrible. So I have to remember to come and cut all these buds early when they're just starting to open, because then they'll be real pretty in the vase and then last forever in the vase. But they just don't look good. I mean, these are not ones in the hot, humid South that you want to be keeping on your shrub because they don't look good on the shrub. My hydrangeas, looking amazing. This is the Incredible, which is supposed to be a upgraded, a little bit better, thicker stalks than the Annabelle. And look at all these. So my daughter came and made a flower arrangement, and Well, it was interesting to me when she would take these gladiolas. Oh, look at the bees. She would just take one, and then she would cut it. She would take the bottom two, and she'd cut it here, and then she'd take off all these blooms, and then it had two more here, and then she might cut that off. So basically, then she would have two long stalks with just like two blooms, and that's what she would stick in her arrangement instead of trying to arrange with one tall stalk, which I found fascinating. So I might try and do that. Oh, look at my celestial night behind here. That's going to be blooming like crazy pretty soon. My English coral, this one was covered in black spot. This area stays really wet. You get the runoff from the yard, and so and it runs back through here. So I found these bushes really struggle with black spot. I think the black spot is coming from this one, and spreading to this one. So I am definitely struggling, especially with all the rain that we've had. Hopefully when things dry out a little bit, I can actually get some foliage on here and try and clean it up. All right, let's look in the front. Here's another one. This is my Pope John Paul II. It used to be right here, and it was also covered in black spots, so I moved it just, 2 feet, and then I mounded it up, and I'm finally getting some healthy foliage. Though, look at this, though. That doesn't look good. I don't know what that is. I have to do a little research. I don't think it's scale, because scale are little bugs, but okay, look at all the buds here on my Belinda's. No, this one is Bliss Perfuma. I didn't love it last year. I was like, everyone talked about how great it was, and the blooms were not that pretty. But look at this. I can tell this year, oh, this one's about to fall apart. But if I get full-size blooms on here, look how many I have. I mean, you can tell how big these buds are, that they're going to be much bigger blooms. My Belinda's Blush. I get that little fungus that makes the pink dots on everything. Yeah, I just feel like it's almost just what happens. Carding Mill. This is really its first flush. And it's just been blooming nonstop. So it bloomed late because I moved it. I moved it over here at the end of April when everything else was blooming. We put those boxwoods in back there, and so I needed to make a pathway, so I had to move it forward. So it bloomed about 3 or 4 weeks after all the other David Austins, but it has not stopped blooming, and it's still, look at all the buds. Carding Mill. This is a 3rd-year shrub for me, though. Okay, back to Belinda's Blush, Bliss Parfuma, Bonica. This was blooming all the way to the end of May, so it is taking its break. Alabaster, another florist rose. Again, these will stay here forever if I don't pull them off. Some dahlias over here. This one is my fairy. It's the itty bitty tiny little blooms. Look how tiny these are. I was kind of hoping, it's like a ground cover rose, that it would like kind of drape over and cover a little bit of this metal. I don't know if that'll happen, but stuck more snapdragons. I started, I don't know, hundreds of snapdragons, and for a plant sale, and did not use them. They were too small, and planted them everywhere. It's just so funny. They just kind of creep. You know, these are like really tall snapdragons. They should have been netted and staked, but I just stuck them everywhere in the garden, and they are starting to bloom everywhere. Put some dahlias in some grow bags up here. And then over here, some more of those spindly snapdragons. This was the last batch to plant. Gosh, probably a month or two after the other ones. And I think, well, I was thinking these were zinnias, but zinnias are usually not pointy. So I don't even know what I started from seed and planted out here, but you know, the rabbits or the chipmunks, somebody's nibbling. I did see a bunch of celosia that they nibbled the tops off. Here's another climber ground cover one. This one's called, oh, what's it called? Petal pushers. I like these flowers better than the fairy. But again, it was one that I was hoping would creep over the edge. Some more of the snapdragons. This is called Honeymoon. This is a beautiful climber. So, first year, we'll see what happens. This is South Africa. I don't know, for someone that does not like yellow roses, I have so many yellow roses. Anyway, this one is beautiful though. It's a grandiflora. Have a ton of blooms. What's in here? Japanese beetle. That's the first Japanese beetle of the season. You know where it is. Squishing it with my bare hands. Anyway, that's the first Japanese beetle of the season. I didn't have a big issue last year. Again, the only ones I had were kind of on the roses that I had. I had 2 rose bushes up front. So I don't know if they're coming from the neighbors, but yeah, I'll have to come out here and watch a little bit more. Some zinnias that self-seeded from last year. Champagne Dreams. This was such a beautiful shrub. Both of these are super healthy. The South Africa and the Champagne Dreams. This is an exclusive of Jackson Perkins. Oh my goodness. First year it was covered in blooms. Second year, obviously it's going to repeat. I also have some Lysianthus in here. I just pinched them back, or pinched half of them back. So we'll see what happens. I always pick off things that I think aren't going to do anything. And now I need to make sure the Japanese beetles aren't here. Okay, my girlfriend gave me Golden Celebration. She didn't like them. They were too much black spot. Mine is looking great here. Again, more yellow roses. And I've got my little native section here. I think this is a milkweed. And then I've got an obedient plant. And 2 forsythia that I just planted. And then I just planted this pink chiffon. I just planted this pink chiffon Rose of Sharon. And I mounded it way up. Ooh, I hear my water going on. I need to put water on here though. Lots of buds, but I'm wondering if it's going to be a purple Rose of Sharon. This does not look like the pink chiffon. We'll see. I think Lowe's may have mislabeled. My Crown Princess Margarita, second year. It's so massive, I can't even get all the canes to grow up around it. So I just keep them in the front a little bit shorter. A little bit of black spot here. Overall though, I just showing just a little bit of black spot here, but this one's pretty much been fairly black spot free for the last 2 years. Yeah, now getting just a little bit more of those snapdragons. That it's covering a bolero. This one was gifted to me again by a friend that didn't do well, so I took it. These 3 Desdemonas, also from the same friend that gave me the Golden Celebration to plant in the wetlands. I have mounded up. I don't know if you can see, but I've basically made a mound. These are elevated, so fewer roots are actually going deep into this clay soil. Here is a Cosmo that they have not, the chipmunks or whatever, have not topped off. So they must not have wandered this far. And I planted some foxglove right here. This yarrow is like 3 years old. Started in a grow bag in our rental house, and it just keeps living. This lady, Emma Hamilton, was given to me at the beginning of April from a friend. See if I wanted to try and keep it alive. It has been such a struggle. I mean, this is since April, and this is as long as as the leaves are. This is Ashley. This is another florist rose, another black spot magnet. I literally am always pulling off leaves. I'm finally getting some healthier foliage, and I think part of it is because it's growing into my Veronica, which also has some sort of fungus on it. Yeah, this is a constant battle. I mean, this is a high maintenance plant. That's all I can say. But it's beautiful, and if I cut this now, it will stay beautiful in a vase forever. My first year, Moonlight in Paris, is looking good. My second year, I cut really deep, so it's really slow to rebloom. Moon Dance. Again, a first year shrub. I do my little spraying, but I still get a little bit about black spot. Oh, there's a little leaf scorch here. So I still have to walk by and clean up even though I spray. This is Sexy Rexy. This one's really pretty. Okay, first year Strawberry Hill. Look at this. This would be a second flush. So we'll see. There are not that many buds. You can see. Typically I just deadhead, and then when these all turn brown, I'll come back. Sometimes I'll cut low, but sometimes I won't. You know, if I cut back, you know, I'd cut that off. So if I'd cut low, then it's slower to bloom in between. And then I remove some beautiful new growth. So that whole cutting back to a 5-leaf, I just wait. Hybrid teas, I can see it, you know, because you're only getting 1 bloom per stem. But on these David Austins and ones that bloom in sprays, I definitely don't want to cut back if I want it to bloom quicker. All right, my Princess Alexander of Kent is a black spot magnet this year. I mean, it has no foliage. It didn't have foliage for the early spring flush. Ouch, there's a thorn, these thorns, and it doesn't have any foliage now, but I do have buds, so we'll see what happens. Sweet Flow, this is a second year, another one. These florist roses, black spot magnet. Litchfield Angel, this one is doing good right now. It didn't really have a first flush, and it also had no foliage in the early spring. Jubilee Celebration. These blooms are so fragrant. It is a floppier David Austin, so the stems stay thin, and so the heads are pretty heavy on it. Okay, it's very hard for me not to pick black spot as I'm walking, and it's not doing real well. Okay, this is my baby rose setup. Again, same friend that's given me so many other roses has given me this Emma Woodhouse if I want to try and keep it alive. She also gave me this one, but I don't remember what it is. Here is a country blue. Looks like it's going to be pink rose. I'll probably move it with my darker roses. Martha Stewart, I had a couple of beautiful blooms. This is the first year. This one, what is this one called? This is a Nothing But Class. This is a 2025 release. Yeah, it was sent to me by Spring Hill Nurseries. Look, I mean, it is beautiful, big plant. I need to find a place for it though and get it in the ground. But it is gorgeous. That's how it was shipped. Abraham Darby. This was by a local hybridizer. Yeah, I think I don't know if it's own root or if he grafted it. It might be an own root, but it's got one cane that's really taking off. This is my Acropolis. Now, in the spring, oh my gosh, the blooms were amazing, very bell-shaped. The second flush in the heat, not as pretty. Here is a second flush on my Desdemona. My first flush was just like this at the end of April. Another one given to my friend, another Desdemona. This is its maiden bloom. She gave it to me really small. I overwintered it back here, and then I stepped on it and broke off 2 canes. So it's finally coming back. My echinacea is looking beautiful. I put this in last summer, I think, and it didn't really do much. It's obviously happy this year. Wollerton Old Hall. This is the end of its second flush. It was covered, but there's still lots of blooms. Sweet Mademoiselle, one of my favorite for cut flowers. Big, beautiful blooms. They smell so good. I would love to get a second one and put it right there. So I am trying to propagate it. You know, I had a broken stem and I stuck it in some soil back here. Yeah, in these little, yeah, I just stick them in there. If they root, they root. If they don't, they don't. But I do have a couple of Sweet Mademoiselles in there. I would love to have a second one, or even a third one. April Love. I think this one's exclusive to Heirloom. This is its second flush. And these are really good cut flowers too. Let's see what the fragrance is. So if you don't like myrrh, you might not like the fragrance, but it's really pretty. And then next to it is All Dressed Up. It's great for cut flowers, lots of blooms. And it got this really pretty stake from Gardener's Supply. Kind of matches all of my obelisks and my bird cages. And so I know this one gets long canes, so I'll have something to tie it up. Here's my Astacia Vi, David Austin. This one looked like I have a lot of thrip damage. We'll see. I put some spinosad on it. I hope it's not rose midge. Yeah, I hope I don't miss this flush due to pests. This one is a beautiful David Austin rose. Look at that. If you had a whole spray of them, you know, it would be so gorgeous, but I just don't know if these are going to open. Boscobel, getting its second flush. And then my new first year Boscobel, is putting on some blooms. And I have some dianthus from Lowe's that I planted back here. They're doing good, but they get knocked over. I had to put some peony cages around them because they get knocked over by our storms. My Elizabeth. Cut this one way back so it was really slow to grow again. But it did put out one long stem with a ton of blooms. But you can see the majority of it still really doesn't have a whole lot of growth. Oh, we got some here from my deep cutting. It just had a lot of, well, I can't remember if it had a lot of black spot or why I cut it so deep, but I needed to thin it out in the center. All of these need to be fertilized. That was on my to-do list today. Here's one. Paris de Yves Saint Laurent. This is an heirloom rose. I got this in May. It's an own root rose. Beautiful, lots of buds. This is my Teasing Georgia climber. Haven't seen any buds on it yet. This is a pretty shady area, so we'll see what happens if it gets enough sun to actually bloom. Chipmunks are digging everywhere, so I put some broken pottery shards and rocks. We'll see if that deters them. So we'll go over here to what I call my cottage, or English cottage garden, and then go to my berm. Okay, self-seeded Bennery giant zinnias. The rabbits have been getting to them. I stuck a dahlia back there too. This is my Kiss Me Kate. I need to continue to train it up the trellis. This is supposed to be amazing, so I'm excited about it. I only had one, big spray so far. Then down here is my Summer Romance. I had accidentally ordered 2 of them from 2 different places. This one is obviously getting more sun. Same thing, thrips though. That's so sad because there's no saving these. You're just going to try and save any new blooms with the spinosad. I'll have to come and spray at night. Bees. There's a fly in there. The spinosad is safe for pollinators when dry, but not when wet. So you want to spray after all the activity during the day. My Wild Eve, huge black spot magnet. I've been really working on trying to pull off the black spot. We'll see. I just moved this phlox. It was right here. I planted this from Antique Rose Emporium. This was my fragrant blush rose. So we'll see. I just moved that the other day. Scepter Dial is starting to have its second flush. And here is my Silas Marner. That stake is really ugly. I should actually move one of those pretty posts. It's not really supporting anything yet, and move it here. Next to it is my Olivia Rose Austin, second flush. This is my Queen of Sweden. I don't know if it has a virus. The leaves, are veiny, which could be some deficiency, but it's never looked good. This plant has always had the curled leaves. This is second year, but the first year really struggled and I didn't have anything. And people say Queen of Sweden is so healthy and mine has never been. Last year it was in a pot, now it's in the ground. So I don't know. I'll give it to the fall and then I'll dig it out if it still never perks up. All these Bennery giant zinnias are volunteers. And then, of course, these are my alliums. I remember off the top of my head right this second what type it was. It'll come to me. But they're all dead. I mean, I can just easily just kick them over and snap them off, and I probably should. Here's my Princess Charlene de Monaco. My favorite rose last year, but it was next to the house and had part shade. Not doing as well out here now that I've moved it to full sun. Frances Mayond. This one, taller than me. I'm 5'4", so yeah, it was well over 6 feet last year. I have 3 of them this year. This is a second year. This one is a first year. This one is a first year. If the Princess Charlene de Monacos don't do well right here, I'm gonna take them out and put 2 or 3 more Frances Mayons. These are the Chinese rose. This one's GC. It's actually interesting, kind of purpley, almost blue. I don't know if it's kind of a lavender. I'm not sure I love the shade. And then my Ying Ying Xing, which is a second year rose, beautiful, but getting a lot of fungus over here. But it was beautiful little lavender. My Smoogie, awful. This is a second year, same time as this one. Planted same time, received same time. And it's just been such a struggle. Yeah, I think I'll put it in a pot. Maybe I'll switch something else. I don't know. I'm waiting for my landscaper. He says every week that he's coming by Friday, and he's going to widen this by about a foot, dig all that out, and put metal edging. But we'll see, because he literally has said for a month that he'll be here this week and still not here. Here's another Ashley. This one was actually purchased as Ashley. The other one was purchased as a different plant and identified later as Ashley. But I think the blooms, it's only had 1 bloom, and I think it looked different. So we'll see. My Harlow Carr. This one was pretty diseased with like insects, thrips, and didn't really have a good bloom in April. But these look healthy, so I might get some pretty blooms. I like this one by the street, one, because it has tons of thorns, so people won't be tempted to cut it, but it's fragrant, so if it's covered in blooms, people walking by on the street will be able to smell them. Okay, this bachelor button, I just tied it up because it was falling over, but I just need to cut it. That looks terrible. Yeah, the bachelor buttons were done by seed, and then I kind of transplanted and moved them over because they were all in a blob. It's my first little carnation. And I got a bunch of dianthus, Sweet William, started from seed, Buplurum, and then those snapdragons. These were the first to go in the ground when I decided I'm not going to sell them. I put the ones in the ground here immediately, and all the other ones were left in the cell trays for months. So these are growing nice and tall. Needed to stake a few of them. I have some small stakes. I probably needed them a little bit taller. I think these were the 18-inch. Probably should have bought 2-foot stakes because then I could have given them more support. It's my Sophie. No, this is Royal Diva. It's like, I love this one. And then here, these are really healthy. This one hasn't really bloomed. This one bloomed, and so I cut it off. But these are my top creams. So they're very fragrant, very healthy white roses or cream roses. Got my butterfly bush here. Got some Autumn Joy, Sedum, my Lady of Shalott, which did nothing last year. It loves being in the ground, raised right here. So gorgeous. Last year, when it was over on the other side of my yard, This was the one that had a lot of Japanese beetles. But so far so good. I don't see any right now. My Louise Clemens. Not sure I love this one. It's almost neon. It goes from neon orange to pink. But it's happy. Lark Ascending. Not sure I love this one either. Very open blooms. But again, the shrub is happy over here. So, and look at my Bring Me Sunshine. Getting the octopus canes, but oh, so many beautiful blooms. Again, for someone that doesn't like yellow, I've got an awful lot of yellow roses. Maybe they'll grow on me. Oh, my Danahue. This rose is her first year in the U.S. Sold by David Austin, and they had trouble with the quality. I was probably one of the first people to order because I ordered before they even sent out the announcement. My girlfriend just happened to be on the David Austin website and said, Danahue's for sale. So we both got them, and they were terrible looking, probably the worst bare root I've ever seen from David Austin. And she thought hers died, and I knew mine was alive, but it was small. But both of us have a bloom. so it's finally growing. We have our one bloom. Here's my Claire Austin. It gets a lot of shade from my neighbor's tree. A few days ago, this was a beautiful cluster. Roald Dahl, another yellow rose. Here's my first year Earth Angel, looking very beautiful and healthy. And here's my second year. Okay, look at all these bud clusters. You see them all? Oh my goodness. This is going to be its first major flush. I mean, it did bloom in the early spring, but nothing like this. I mean, within the week, if this rain this weekend doesn't kill it, well, I think the buds are tight enough that the rain shouldn't hurt it. But it should be gorgeous if we can get it to open up after this weekend's rain, and if we have some dry weather for a few days. Okay, Everest Double Fragrance. This is a Peter Beals. Okay, you can't see this because it's gone. This was such a beautiful flower, and it lasted for a really long time on the shrub, and it smelled so delicious, and I have a couple more buds, so I'm excited. Unforgettable. Again, the rose that, it's tight, that's gonna stay here looking like this forever if you don't deadhead it. You just have a shrub of dead roses. I think I'd rather just have greens or wilted, discolored roses. And lastly, well, not lastly, but still going down my driveway, this is my north wall. So I've got an oak leaf. Same girlfriend that gives me all the roses gave me these 3 giant hostas. She wanted all matching, and she had a mixture, so she picked the one that she liked and replaced these 3 with the one she liked. And so I had nothing there, so she gave them to me. And here's the last area. I'm sure my husband really wants me to put the rest of this soil somewhere. Better cover it because it's going to rain. Trying to do this with one hand. Not that easy. So this was the 10 yards of soil I had delivered, and used about 6 yards, maybe 7 for my berm. And this is what's remaining. I need to just do something with it. I did pile this up. Maybe I'll plant another rose here. My Quietness and my Emily Brontes. which really didn't do anything. They didn't bloom at all last year. And then they did fantastic this spring. Kind of slow on a second flush, but I'm getting some nice little octopus canes. Put a trellis here to support it. This is the Emily Bronte. This one smells really good. This one has a real pretty rose fragrance. So I guess I have a couple of buds. So it's been blooming, just not covered in blooms. They're not a ton of buds. I have like a bud here and there. Okay, that's it for my mid-June garden tour. I know it was a rather long video. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love if you considered subscribing and hit that like button. As always, I appreciate everyone being here, and we will see you next time.